Hello, Awesome Soul here, and yes, drone is still in fact a thing. I've been getting this question a fair amount recently, and I figured I haven't really done a video on drone in quite some time, so this is probably why this question is coming forth. Unfortunately, in the forefront as far as demos we've gotten, there isn't a huge amount of brand new things, but they are working on a lot of things in the back end, and they actually have multiplayer working, at least as a little test on their side. They put out a video on that too. I should have it linked down below if you're interested in watching that. But yeah, some of the other things they've been working on are brand new and improved items that you can build with. If you remember the arena building series that I did a little while back, it was pretty awesome looking. Like the forests and all that stuff looked really cool. But it turns out a lot of the items that you can place down, like the sort of destructible kind of boxes and all that stuff, those are actually placeholders, as it turned out. So yeah, as you can see here, they look absolutely stunning. And this also shows off the painting system rather well. So you can customize these parts and make them really look however you want them to look. Now, I'm sure this is probably just a little taste. I assume they have a couple more than just what we see here, or if this is literally it, still, that is quite impressive, and I am rather happy. I especially like the fact that you can more or less paint, for lack of a better term, all of the glow colors, and hopefully those actually affect the lighting as well. That'd be really cool. So you could basically, with this system, you could paint a light to really get whatever color you wanted. But another big thing they've been working on, and this is actually something rather recent. I kind of forgot to mention the whole brand new items thing. That was actually posted a little while back. That was done all the way on May 25th. So yeah, it's been a little while since then. But recently, on June 29th, they posted this picture. And this, my friends, is their brand new drone HUD system, or heads-up display. This will be replacing the current one, it would seem. Though, for all we know, some of these things could be placeholders, they could be moved around a little bit, but I think what would be pretty cool is to go through this with you guys. As one, it does look pretty cool, but also it does give a lot of insights into what the gameplay is going to hold. So we'll go clockwise, starting at the top left. Here we have a little banner that just says score and time. Now this could be a placeholder, or perhaps it's something you need to tab out, or maybe once you hit escape, it'll then highlight and become blue instead of grayed out, or maybe it's there for when you die and you're waiting to respawn, you can click on that button and it'll bring up the scores and times of all players? Perhaps? I don't know. Or maybe it is just a placeholder, because I was just thinking, scores and time. Why would you need time in a multiplayer battle? Unless this is pertaining to the race mode that they've talked about quite a bit. So in that case, maybe it is just a placeholder. Anyway, a little down from that, we have what appears to be the target information. So it gives their avatar, it gives their username, and it gives the distance away from you, and the speed at which they're moving, which is all pretty cool. Now, my guess is you're going to need some sort of targeting computer or something similar, because the way they've described drone building in the past, it's very modular, and a lot of heads-up display items are actually optional, which is very awesome. So maybe this ability to track the player like this doesn't show up on all drones. Next, the center top, we have the compass, which doesn't really need any more of an explanation. It's just a compass. Currently, it's pointed south. That's about all you need to know. Shifting over to the top right, we have the statistics tab. This definitely seems to be personal statistics. Maybe there's a way to read team statistics, but this is just your own personal statistics. So we have team rank, most likely how well you're doing on your team. This person is 12th, so probably not doing all too well. They also have 8 kills and only 2 deaths and 1 goal, whatever that means. Most likely that has to do with the race mode. Going down from there, we have footprint information. Now this is actually really cool, because it kind of highlights another one of the systems they've been talking about. So here we have noise level, heat emission, radiation, as well as visibility. So let's go through these and break them down. noise level. This one is most likely the ambient noise that all of your parts make while idle, but I assume this would also jump up to a higher number when you're firing or when you're boosting, etc, etc. And rather obviously, the noisier you are, the more likely it is for another player to hear you. There could also be some other systems that maybe help you pick up noise coming off of other drones, but who knows at this point, because other ones that would definitely have something like that is the heat emission, some sort of thermal camera. I'm guessing it's more or less the same. If you heat up by firing your weapons, your heat level will rise, and therefore your heat emissions will also rise, making it easier if you're using a thermal camera or something similar to see other drones. This would be especially useful at night. The next one is radiation. Now this is one I don't think I've actually heard them talk about, so I don't know too much about what this could be. I assume certain generators would probably have some kind of high radiation level, but past that, I'm not too sure how this would play into gameplay. I guess only time will tell. And then finally, and this one's also a little bit perplexing, visibility. Now, my best guess for this one is that it's probably going to be a static number, meaning it's not going to actually change. Or maybe if parts get shot off, then maybe it will. But what I'm kind of guessing at is that it's basically detailing how large of a drone you are. So your overall footprint, I guess we can say. If you're a micro drone, this number would probably be in the range of, I don't know, 10 or 20. But if you're a mega drone, maybe it would be in the range of 100 or higher. Of course, though, I could be completely wrong here. Anyway, moving on, we have systems. So I assume this list would grow or shrink depending on what systems you actually have. If you don't have a system, then it won't show up on this list. It appears that this drone, in particular, only has lights and cloaking, and it simply tells you which are on and which are off. This also confirms, again, that cloaking is in the game, though it has been confirmed before, if I recall correctly, but hey, secondary confirmation, or at least bringing it up again, doesn't hurt. Now, inventory is the next thing, and this is actually kind of interesting because it means there are weapons other than your sort of guns and all that stuff. And it basically shows that these are temporary items, meaning that they're not going to respawn or reload, etc, etc. Kind of like a one and done. Or I guess in the case of the Sticky Bomb Mark II, a 4 and done. But yeah, pretty cool there. Maybe you can shuffle through, or maybe you just simply have one inventory slot. Additionally, it could also be tied to how you set up your drone. So let's say you have 4 item bays, or whatever you want to call them, on your drone. Then this square would be divided into 4, or maybe you could scroll through it, and then activate the item button, or whatever it is, and then drop your sticky bombs or activate your spike traps or something like that. Shifting over a little bit, we have what appears to be the currently selected weapon, as it does say active weapon system. So we've got the Vulcan machine gun ×2, meaning that there's most likely 2 of these guns tied to this one hotkey or weapon loadout or whatever you want to call it. Much like the demo, I'm guessing you can kind of shift through your current weapon setups. So the only active one here is the Vulcan machine gun. Maybe they have lasers, but those aren't selected. Also, we have the active missile system. Now that one is actually quite interesting because this means that you can have weapons and missiles together. Or perhaps you can have weapon and another weapon. So you could have a Vulcan machine gun and lasers active at the same time. Or maybe this is only for missiles. We'll have to wait and see. And maybe it's like that just simply because it appears that missiles do have ammo. So you will run out of them eventually. Anyway, shifting over, we have something fairly obvious and something not so obvious. We have the fuel level, and it's the fuel level. I don't really know what else to say here. Also, we have these weird diamond-shaped things. There are 4 of them. My guess is that there's some sort of boost, possibly, or overdrive functionality. Maybe they'll regenerate over time, or maybe you just have to install them, and once you use it, you're done for the match. You can't overdrive, or whatever this is. Again, alternatively, it could just be decoration, but I doubt that, because it seems like everything else so far actually does have a purpose. Now, we do have the temperature. I'm guessing based on the scenery, because this is sort of a desert, craggy kind of area, area, this is the ambient temperature. So 45 degrees there, that's fairly hot, but not too bad. And that is Celsius, by the way, not Fahrenheit. Now, for the bottom center bit, we have the hull integrity, basically your health, and then we have in the center the radar, though it doesn't seem like it's actually picking up anything. Maybe they don't have a radar installed, or maybe just for the purposes of this little demo thing that wasn't working. Anyway, the next thing we have is energy level. Now, I'm guessing this is probably your boost, or maybe not? I don't know, because there are some other things. We have above energy level, we've got a couple numbers followed by P, C, and either a D or an O. I can't quite tell, it's a little bit too small to read. Maybe once it's zoomed in, you'll probably see exactly what it means. Of course, I'll be doing that in post. But yeah, shifting on over from there, we have HDR or HOR, most likely, and that stands for horizontal, and we also have V for vertical, I'm guessing. These are probably used to tell which direction is up when you're kind of spinning around in all directions. I'm not sure how these could work. Maybe if you're nosing up too much, they'll light up red and give you a bit of a warning, but past that, I'm a little stumped. Also in the same section, we have the shields, which does confirm that you can actually install things like shield generators, etc. on your drone. Pretty cool there. We also have the chat box. Now, this is more than likely just simply a placeholder. I doubt the actual chat box would just have a giant chat sitting in the middle of it. And then finally, we have the system integrity. This is kind of letting you know how much each part has health-wise individually. So we've got lights, we've got the power generator, we've got the batteries, we've got the temperature regulation unit, cloaking, radar, broadcaster, jammer, and HUD. Most of these are fairly self-explanatory. Lights gives you light, generator actually generates the power, batteries store that power, temperature regulation unit vents heat, cloaking is exactly what it sounds like, radar reveals where people are. Now, broadcaster, I guess, is the most vague. And that is probably going to let you send all your HUD information or radar information to your allies. Jammers probably stop enemy drones from broadcasting their information to other people, so if you want a stealth build, you could do that. And then the heads-up display, which, like I said, they've thrown around the idea of making the HUD optional, so it's kind of cool to see it there, though I kind of gauged that it would be done in bits and pieces instead of getting rid of the entire HUD or having all the HUD. Maybe what would be cool is to have bits and pieces kind of add on to the HUD, but they would all be really cheap. But if you're very stingy and wanted to have a really low cost build, then you could just have the center targeting reticule and nothing else. But yeah, that's that. Let me know what you think of all of this, and like I said, D.R.O.N.E is very much not dead, and what I would highly recommend, if you want to keep up to date on D.R.O.N.E, please go and follow their Discord, or I guess their Twitter, and really their YouTube, so you can stop asking me if D.R.O.N.E is still a thing. They are still working on it, and you can pledge to receive the demo a little bit early, as well as get some other cool perks too. I have pledged already, and yeah, I'm very excited to see more of what this game has to offer. But with that, I of course have been the Awesome Soul. I thank you all so very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.